Hi guys, this is Vineet and I welcome you to this video. Today's video topic is what to consider before performing any index maintenance. So let's move ahead with this topic. And before I proceed ahead, I would request you guys to please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. There's a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will give you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon. Select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. So I'm giving you 5 seconds. Please go ahead and do that so right away. I'm waiting. So guys, I hope you must have subscribed by now. So let's begin with today's topic, which is what to consider before performing index maintenance. So there are some points to remember while watching this video. Please watch this video till the end to gain better clarity of the concept, and if it's possible for you, please watch this video twice or as many times as you like until the concept gets clear to you. Perform any exercises in your test and lab environments only. Do not touch any production environment or production databases. And we would like to know your thoughts regarding our videos, so please do share in your comments, feedbacks and suggestions. We have created some playlists for you to watch, and links for all these playlists are available in the video description area of this video. Some of the popular playlists are SQL Server Database Design, SQL Server Tables, Business Continuities, SQL Server Indexes, SQL Server Performance Tuning, SQL Server Integration Services, and Transact SQL. The common playlists are SQL Server Database Design, which contains around 98 videos. I think right now it has more than 100 videos. And second one is the Business Continuity, which has more than 50 videos. And these days we are creating videos on indexes and performance tuning. So we are adding videos to these two categories basically. And if we particularly talk about this video, this video pertains to the performance tuning category. If we talk about the total number of videos posted on our channel, it's more than 250 videos. And a number of videos are growing at a constant pace on a daily basis. My channel page link is given below at this slide, and if you check the video description area, there also you will find the channel page link. And you can visit my channel, view out all these playlists, and also the playlist link are given in the channel description. You can directly go to any of the playlist and watch out the videos. So the reason why we create playlists for you guys is because we feel that playlists are best way to learn about any particular domain or area. For example, if you would like to learn about the database design area or SQL Server database design area, what we would recommend is go to the SQL Server database design playlist and watch out all the videos from beginning till the end to get better clarity in that database design area. Let's move back to today's topic, which is what to consider before performing any kind of index maintenance. So let's discuss those points. And guys, this will be a theoretical session, and if you would like, you can write down the notes as soon as I'm teaching them or instructing them to you. So this is today's topic, what to consider before performing any kind of index maintenance. So let's go through these points, and this will be a theoretical lecture. So we all know that index maintenance can be performed by either reorganizing or rebuilding an index. So basically, how do we perform index maintenance on the indexes? Basically, we reorganize the index or we rebuild the index. If you're not sure about what reorganizing or rebuilding an index is, you can watch out my previous videos. Please watch out the SQL Server indexes playlist as well as the SQL Server performance tuning playlist. And I expect anyone who is watching this video to watch out all the videos I've created in these two playlists so you can have better idea. So we were discussing that we perform index maintenance on the indexes in SQL Server by using the reorganize or rebuild method. Either we can reorganize an index or we can rebuild an index. And basically these two are separate operations, and both of these operations are very resource intensive. Resources in terms of CPU, memory, etc. and IO as well. So these two operations, reorganizing and rebuilding, are resource intensive, and these operations cause significant increase in the CPU utilization, memory used, and storage IO required. So whenever we are performing these operations cause significant increase in the CPU usage, memory utilized, and the storage IO required. However, depending on the database workload, So it depends upon how much database workload we have and various other factors as well. The benefit it provides range from vitally important to minimum. So sometimes all depends upon the load we have in our database. So doing reorganizing or rebuilding sometimes is vitally very important, but sometimes it is not important. It can provide minimum benefits, and sometimes it provides good benefits, right? And basically, to avoid the unnecessary resource utilization, which is required by the reorganizing and rebuilding operations, uh, in order to avoid the unnecessary resource utilization, right? That may be detrimental to the query workloads. So if your CPU or if we say memory is consumed by the index rebuild process, it will be detrimental to the queries that are running in the background, or because queries will take more time to execute because resources are now being consumed by the index rebuilding process or the index reorganizing process. So we do not recommend performing an index maintenance indiscriminately, or we mean do not perform index maintenance anytime, especially during the peak workload period. Now, instead, performance benefits from index maintenance should be determined for each workload. So, what we should do for each workload we are performing, we should first determine the performance benefit that the index maintenance process will provide using the recommended strategy, and it should be weighed against the resource cost and workload impacts need to achieve these benefits. So we should measure all the criteria like to rebuild the indexes or doing the index maintenance. We should compare all the resource cost against the benefits before coming up to a decision like whether we should do rebuilding at this time or not. Now, the likelihood of seeing performance benefits from reorganizing or rebuilding an index is higher. So, whenever we reorganize an index or rebuild an index, there's a high likelihood that you will gain some performance benefits, or the likelihood of performance benefit is higher when the so this is true in the condition when your index is heavily fragmented. Guys, we have talked about the fragmented indexes in our previous videos, so please watch them out if you want to know about what is index fragmentation. So, benefit in rebuilding or reorganizing the index is higher whenever your index is highly fragmented or heavily fragmented, or when your page density is low. All right. Also, guys, you can read about page density in my previous videos, previous 3 or 4 videos posted. So please check them out before watching this video. So both the fragmentation and page density were discussed in those videos. So we were talking about this point, which basically conveying that we can reap performance benefits in case our indexes are highly fragmented and the page density is low. However, these are not the only things to consider. So basically, we should not only consider these two things like the page fragmentation and the page density. So these two should not be the only factors to consider before you can go for index maintenance. So there are other factors as well, like query patterns. Basically, we are doing transaction processing versus analytics and reporting. So what kind of queries are we running against which data store, whether it's an OLAP database, which is a database used for online analytical processing, contains very minimal redundant information uh, compared to the data warehouse, which contains redundant information. We should also consider other factors like that, the query patterns basically, and what is the behavior of your storage subsystem, like what kind of storage are you using? Are you using SSD disk? Are you using network attached storage? Or whether you're using the old storage system, ID, hard disk, etc. So you should also consider this parameter, which is storage subsystem behavior. And you should always also keep in view the memory available on your system. And you should also consider the database engine improvements over the time. All these items basically play the vital role. So we should consider these factors in addition to the fragmentation and page density while rebuilding the indexes. Now, index maintenance decision should be made only after considering multiple factors in the specific context of each workload. So we should consider all the above factors we have discussed in context to each workload we have put on the system, including the resource cost of maintenance. So we should also consider the resource cost that is required for performing the index maintenance. They should not be based on fixed fragmentation or page density threshold alone. As we discussed earlier, we should not only consider this two factors, which is fixed fragmentation or page density, in order to come up at a decision whether to rebuild the indexes or reorganize the indexes or not. Now let's talk about one of the positive side effect of the index rebuild operation. So if we talk about customer, they often observe performance improvements after they rebuild the indexes. However, in many cases, these improvements are unrelated to reducing the fragmentation or increasing the page density. We are basically aware that the index fragmentation or index rebuild process, what it does is it reduces the fragmentation and it increases the page density in the background, right? But whenever we rebuild the index, it is not always the index fragmentation reduction in the fragmentation or increase in the page density that plays part in the performance improvements. There are other factors that can play a part in performance improvement as well, that we will discuss shortly. Now, whenever we do an index rebuild operation, it has an important benefit. In addition to reducing the fragmentation and increasing the page density, the index rebuild operation also what it does is it updates the statistics on the key columns. So key columns are something like where the primary key is defined or any other keys are defined on which the index is rebuilt or on which the index is built. So the index rebuild process also update the statistics on those key columns of the index. And how these statistics are computed, basically index rebuild process scan all the rows of the key column in the index and compute the statistics. And this is equivalent of executing the statements update statistics with full scan. Guys, earlier we had talked about the update statistics statement. So we have separate videos on that. Please watch them out before you can continue with this. Please go ahead and do so. That's very vital. All right. So whenever the index rebuild process updates the statistics on the key columns, it is equivalent to running the update statistic process separately with the full scan option, which makes statistics on that particular column current and sometimes improve their quality compared to the default sample statistics update. So if the statistics are not computed, only the default sample statistic update is provided whenever a column is queried on which the index is defined. It provides the default sample statistics update unless the statistics are updated on that column. So the index rebuild operation makes the statistics current on that column and also sometimes improve the quality of the statistics in comparison to the default sample statistics update. And when these statistics are updated, query plans that reference them are recompiled. So whenever your statistics are updated, so any query plans that are stored in the query stored, maybe in the memory, that basically reference those columns, key columns where indexes are there. The query plans get recompiled at that time whenever the statistics are updated. And if the previous plan for a query was not optimal because of the stale statistics or outdated statistics, insufficient sampling ratio, or for any other reasons, the recompiled plan will offer perform better or provide the better performance. All right, so there are benefits in updating the statistics on a column, and rebuild process also update the statistics on the key column, which can otherwise be updated separately as well. And the benefit of updating the statistics on a column is improved query performance, as queries will refer to the updated statistics instead of the stale statistics or insufficient sampling ratio, etc. Now, customer often incorrectly attribute this improvement to the index rebuild itself, taking it to be the result of reduced fragmentation and increased page density. So whenever we do the index rebuild, customer often misinterpret it. Like a customer thinks that the reduced fragmentation and increased page density given by the index rebuild operation has provided the better query performance or performance benefit to a system. But in reality or in the background, it is the updated statistics that is a part of rebuilding the index that has actually provided the performance. So in reality, the same benefit can offer be achieved at much cheaper resource cost by just updating the statistics instead of rebuilding the statistics. So sometimes instead of rebuilding indexes, we can consider updating the statistics on the columns, because that is also done by rebuilding the indexes. But yeah, we can separately perform this operation as well, which is basically less resource intensive. So cost of updating the statistics is minor if we compare it to the index rebuild operation as a whole. So instead of doing the whole index rebuild operation, we can do just the update statistics operation on a particular column which has index. And the operation often complete in minutes instead of hours that may be required for the index rebuilds. So I hope you get the idea of this topic. We have discussed positive side effects of index rebuild operation. Now let's go to next topic. What should be your index maintenance strategy? Now our recommendation is that customers should consider and adopt the following index maintenance strategies. First point is, do not assume that index maintenance will always noticeably improve your workload. So do not assume this, that if you perform index maintenance, it will always improve your workload performance. It cannot be the case every time. You should also measure the specific impact of reorganizing or rebuilding the indexes on the query performance in your workload. So as we discussed earlier, the operations reorganize and rebuild are resource intensive. So you should consider running them during your peak workload times, because running the rebuild or reorganize operation may affect the performance of the queries that users are running against your database. And query store is a good way to measure the before maintenance and after maintenance performance of the AB using the AB testing technique. So we will discuss about query store later. This is one of the best ways. Query store store all the query plans, and we can use query store to measure the before maintenance and the after maintenance performance to actually see whether the reorganize or rebuild operation is giving us any performance benefits. So we can measure the performance using query store, which we will discuss in our later videos. So keep an eye, keep subscribed. That's the reason I'm asking you to subscribe. So there's a subscribe button below this video. Use that button to subscribe. So we have discussed two factors so far. So do not always assume that if you do index maintenance, it will provide you performance benefits. And second thing is, you should always measure the impact of rebuilding or reorganizing the indexes, and that can be done through one of the tools called query store, which we will discuss later, where we can compare the before maintenance and after maintenance performance using the A/B testing technique, and we will talk about that. So third point is, if you observe that rebuilding indexes improve the performance. So after rebuilding the indexes, if you observe that there is a performance improvement, try replacing it with update statistics. So you should always try updating the statistics on the column instead of first trying the rebuild index operation, to see if you can gain the same benefits using the update statistics command instead of rebuilding the complete indexes. And this may result in a similar improvement, similar to what a rebuild index provides. In that case, you may not need to rebuild the indexes if you are getting similar improvement just by using the update statistics. So you may not need to rebuild the indexes as frequently or at all. And instead, you can perform periodic statistics update on the key columns of your tables. And for some statistics, you may need to increase with the sampling ratio using the with sample percent or with full scan clauses. And this is not common basically. So you can use these parameters while you are updating the statistics to increase the sampling ratio sometimes. We should always first try updating the statistics in comparison to performing a index rebuild operation. Now, fourth point is monitor the index fragmentation and page density over time to see if there's a correlation between these values trending up or down on the performance. So we should monitor this the index fragmentation and the page density levels over the period of time or span of time to see if they have anything related to performance dips or performance improvements. So we should measure that as well and query performance. Now, if higher fragmentation or lower page density degrade performance unacceptably, so if we see that the higher fragmentation level and the lower page densities are degrading the performance of your queries unacceptably, try reorganizing and rebuilding the indexes at that time. So once you establish the correlation between the index fragmentation, page density, and the reduced performance, then only consider rebuilding the indexes or reorganizing the indexes. It is often sufficient to only reorganize or rebuild specific indexes used by queries. So we should check queries first that are executed against the database to see which indexes really require the rebuild. And sometimes it is sufficient to only reorganize or rebuild specific indexes used by the queries instead of rebuilding all the indexes. So queries with the degraded performance specifically can be checked to see which all indexes are outdated, so we can rebuild them or reorganize them. And basically this thing avoids a higher resource cost of maintaining every index in the database. So we should always consider building specific indexes instead of building all the indexes in the database. So we should only rebuild the indexes which are absolutely required and which are degrading the query performance. Now, establishing a correlation between the fragmentation page density and the performance also let you determine the frequency of index maintenance. So we should also basically, if we calculate the correlation between the fragmentation page density and the performance, it will also help you in determining the how much the frequency of your index maintenance should be. Do not assume that maintenance must be performed on a fixed schedule. So we should not take this as an assumption that we have to perform the maintenance at a fixed schedule. And we have a better strategy. The better strategy is to monitor fragmentation and page density and run index maintenance as and when required or as and when needed before performance degradation becomes unacceptable. First of all, if you have determined that index maintenance is absolutely necessary and you have also checked on the resource cost and you found that it is acceptable, even in those cases, we would suggest that you perform the maintenance during the low resource usage time or during the off-peak hours or out of business hours. So perform maintenance during the off-peak hours or off-business hours, if any, keeping in mind that resource usage patterns may change over time. So we should always pick up a period for maintenance, which is off-peak or off-business hours. Let's talk about the offline index rebuild operation. In the offline index rebuild operation, the table is not available during the time the index is rebuilding on that table. And basically these type of operation, the offline index rebuild operations typically complete faster than the online ones. In the online index rebuild operation, table becomes available to the user even though the index rebuilding is taking place in the background. But in offline index rebuild, the table is not available for query to the users. And But the difference is that offline index rebuild operation completes faster in comparison to the online index rebuild operation. And these operations should be used when tables will not be accessed by the queries during the operation. So what this is what we meant by the off-peak hours, when users are not using your tables, that is after the business hours, basically. You should try performing the offline index rebuild or online index rebuild. It's up to you. And we are done with this topic, guys. Today we have discussed about the factors to be considered before performing any kind of index maintenance. We have discussed the topic, the positive side of the index rebuilding process, and we also talked about how your index maintenance strategy should be designed. We have discussed some points. So I hope you have taken the notes. If not, please watch out the video again and jot down the notes and try to understand the video. If you have any doubts, um, most of them I have cleared. So I hope you like this video, guys. And if you really like this video, please click on the like button below this video. If you have clicked on the like button, what I would also say is click on the subscribe button, which you will find near that. So there's a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will give you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. Guys, subscribing is very much essential. Otherwise, you will miss out on the updates which I post regarding the videos. And whatever videos I will post in future, you will miss the updates regarding that. So please do subscribe. Let me give you 5 seconds to subscribe. Please go ahead and subscribe now. So guys, I hope you must have subscribed by now and you have also liked the video. And I would request you guys to please share this video with your friends and also ask them to subscribe to my channel. I thank you once again for your time on this video. And do post in your comments, feedback and suggestions, guys. And you have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.